We're talking about the shulchan, the table, and Rav Yochanan said that according to the opinion that the rim of the table was on the bottom, and a tavla misapeches, tavla, the utensil that if you turn over, then it has a base kibble, is tamei. But according to the opinion that the rim was on top, and the reason why the table had the ability to become tamei was because it had a rim on top, so it had a base kibble, it had a receptacle. So a tavla misapeches would not become tamei. So the Gemara says, 1 second. Michlal, this is towards the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess about 11 lines down on the top here of Tzadi Vav and Beis. Michlal de Shulchan Bar Kibuli Tumahu. Is it so clear to you that the shulchan itself could become tamei, and therefore we would derive from the table that other things like the table also could become tamei? But why would the table have the ability to become tamei? It's a very large wooden utensil made to be placed, not to be moved around. We know that a large utensil that's wooden, it's not made to be moved around, does not have the ability to become tamei. My time or why? Because the only utensils that can become tamei are utensils that are like a sack. And sack is something which is carried whether it's full or empty. So two things that are carried full and empty are the things that can become impure. But a table is not something which is carried full and empty. It's made to sit in one place. Answers the Gemara, the table also would be carried and was made to be carried full and empty. Where was the table ever carried? This is the famous lesson of Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish taught what's the meaning of the verse? Ala shulchan tahor, on the pure table. Tahor michlal dika tamei, pure, implying that it was sometimes impure. This time it was pure, but it could be impure. Why would it be able to be impure? We have the question that our Gemara is dealing with. It's not something normally moved. Something which is not normally moved shouldn't have the ability to become impure. The answer is that it is normally moved. They would lift up the table for all the pilgrims who would come during the 3 festivals. And they would show to the pilgrims the bread as it's coming off the table. And they would tell them, see how beloved you are before God, that here your bread is still hot, even though it's 8 days out of the oven. There was a tremendous miracle in the bread. When they would take it off of the table, it was still, when it was being removed, it was still as hot as when it was first being put on. Yes. Very nice. It's a nice connection. As the verse says, Lasum lechem cham biyomi lakcho, to put hot bread on the day that it was praised. So the Gemara says, 1 second. This whole discussion is because there's a problem. How could the table have been impure? Because the table is a big wooden utensil made to sit in one place. So how could it be impure? That's the whole discussion. I'll tell you why the table's impure. Not because it's moved, but because it has a plating. Exactly, it's plated. It's plated with gold, and therefore it's not really a wooden utensil. It's really a metal utensil. And how do we know that the plating really redefines something? That's from the following Mishnah. Didn't we learn in the following Mishnah? HaShulchan. Shulchan is a table made of bread. Hadulbaki is another type of surface. It's made of leather. I always understood it as like a placemat. Shenifchasu, if they were broken. O shechipam b'shayish, or if they get replated, but this time plated with marble. So if shir ben makam anachas kosos, if there's still place to put cups there, it still has its old identity, and it's made in its tummy. Rabbi Yehuda says makam anachas chaticho shir in. If he left place to put pieces, then it has its old identity. Lo shi'er lo. But if you didn't leave any place, if the whole table is covered now with marble, it's no longer a table of wood, it's now a table of stone. It now became a new table, it's now pure. So what do you see? That the covering makes it a new thing. So if the covering can make it a new thing to make it tahor, covering can make it a new thing to make it tameh. So maybe the table in fact was, the table of the mikdash is a kli eitzas menachos. It's a wooden utensil. It's big and heavy and made to sit in one place. So that shouldn't become impure. But since it's plated by gold, it's a new thing, it's gold. And if it's gold, that's why it becomes impure.
What's the location of this table compared to Mishkan Abai?
The shulchan?
Yeah, this table we're talking
in
about.
the Heichal.
In the Heichal.
In the north, yeah.
Okay, so right where the Kodesh.
Close to it, yeah, because it was in the north, yeah.
Outside of the parochet.
It's outside of the parochet, right. Yeah.
But wood can become tamei. I thought wood can become tamei.
Wood can become tummy if it's
depends
movable. If it's a movable utensil.
So like the countertops in the kitchen, if it's wood, it you know.
If something is movable, it can become impure. If a wooden thing is movable, it could become impure. So the Gemara says, 1 second, maybe this is not wood and this is gold because it has a plating of gold. And if you're going to tell me there's a difference, maybe there's a difference between a plating that's attached and a plating that's not attached. You'll say that in the shulchan, the shulchan in the temple, the plating wasn't really attached. It was just there on top, but it wasn't nailed in. So if it wasn't attached, it doesn't redefine the table. You're going to say that. Rabbi Zev asked that very question of Rabbi Yochanan. He said, when we say that the plating makes it a new thing, it's the plating. Is that only a plating that's attached, or even a plating that's not attached? Is that true when you cover the rim around the table also with the plating? Or it applies even when you didn't cover the rim. And Amar Lein, what did Rabbi Yochanan say? Even if it's a plate, there's no difference between plating that's attached. Nor is there any difference with plating that's not attached. Whether the plating fully covers even the rim, or the plating does not cover the rim. In all cases, once the table is plated, now it becomes the plating. It's no longer the table. So therefore, why do we have to have this whole discussion that they used to lift up the shulchan and that makes it a table that's movable, they lift it up 3 times a year? Forget about the fact that they would lift it 3 times a year. It's plated with gold. And the fact that it's plated with gold, that's what makes it something which could become tamei. If you're going to tell me, well, maybe there's a difference. There's a difference between tables and tables. The Mishnah that says that if something is plated with stone, it became stone. Maybe that's talking about regular wood. But since the shulchan was made with very special wood, if you're going to tell me, shitim chashivi, since the shulchan was made out of shitim wood, very special wood, so because it's so special, it overrules the plating, and it's not defined as plated as gold. It's defined as shitim. It's defined as a utensil of shitim wood, and therefore v'lo batli, it doesn't lose its identity. Well, that works if you're going to say that, like the idea of Rish Lakish, that Mishnah in Kalim refers to vessels from Aksaglus that come from this country, so it's not expensive wood. Avukle mismis, but utensils that come from mismis, which is more expensive wood, chashiv v'lo batli, they're more prominent and they don't lose their identity to the plating. They are what they are, despite whatever is plated on top of them. Shabbos, that would work. You could say that also in regards to the shulchan and mishkan. Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan, kli mismis nami batli, but according to Rabbi Yochanan, it says even if the utensil comes from mismis, even though it's expensive wood, we don't care. We look at the plating, not at the wood. So now ma'ikol amema. So now what are you going to say in regards to the shulchan? So why do you have to have this whole discussion again and again? Back to this question: why are we saying that the reason why the shulchan can become impure is because it was moved around normally and it was lifted when it was full with stuff? That's not the issue. It becomes impure because it's plated with gold. And once it's plated with gold, it's gold. It's not wood. The answer to the Gemara, no. Shani shulchan derachmana karye eitz. It could be that normally when you have a utensil that's plated with another material, it gets defined as that other material. But not with the table of the showbread. Because the table of the showbread, Hashem calls it a wooden table. Hashem is saying regardless of what's on it, it's still called wood. Shem, as the verse says, the mizbeach eitz, the mizbeach of wood. Shalosh amos gavoa, 3 amos tall. Orko shtei amos, its length was 2 amos. Umikzaos lo, and it had squares to it. For Orko, and its length, namely its roof, the kirosav, and its walls, 8 are wood. Yidabre line, the angel speaks to me and he says, this mizbeach is not a mizbeach. This thing that you're seeing, zeh shulchan ashalifnei Hashem. This is the shulchan before God. So you see that it was called eitz. A mizbeach eitz, which means the shulchan eitz. See that it stays wood even though it's covered by gold. So now, just as an aside, a very famous teaching, says the Gemara, Pasach b'mizbeach. This Pasach began by saying that the angel shows Yechezkel a mizbeach. You see in the Shulchan, and it ends off saying that the angel tells him, Zeh Shulchan Hashalifnei Hashem. This is the table before God. So Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar, Dami Tarvai, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar both explain. When there was a Beis HaMikdash, what would atone for a person? The altar, namely bringing karbanos. Now that we don't have a Beis HaMikdash, what is creating atonement? Shulchano shel adam mechaper alav. A person's table is what creates atonement. And here they have a lot of very beautiful explanations in the Rishonim. A person's table is where he shares divrei Torah. So that's what makes it what creates the atonement. A person's table is where he welcomes poor people, welcomes guests. That's what creates atonement. And as Rabbeinu Bachaya records, there was an ancient custom in France and in Spain that when tzaddikim would die, they would make a coffin for them out of their table. That their table is that which is what they're buried with, because that's what's machaper. That's what creates the atonement, to show Hashem, this table, this is what I have in life, all the guests that I welcomed, all the Torah that I taught at the table, the brachos that I said at the table, that's what I have in life. In fact, there was a Rosh Yeshiva here in Far Rockaway, Rabbi Freifeld. And he passed away. He had them cut up his dining room table and make out of his dining room table the coffin to fulfill this ancient minhag that tzaddikim get buried in their table to remember this Gemara that a person's atonement is through their table, through all the chesed that they do on the table.
Sit on the table either, right?
You can't sit on the table. Lots of things, right? You can't sit on the table. That's why you have salt on the table to remember that it's a mizbeach. All those are halachos.
What? Why? Sit on the table.
Did they clean it up before make a coffin out of it, or they still have the stain on it?
Your wife would let you use the fancy wood
from the chicken soup and everything all over, this, that,
All right, so the Mishnah now goes through the exact appearance of the Shulchan. And the Mishnah said, Arba snifim shel zav hayusham. There were 4 boards of gold, and in the 4 boards of gold there were 28 reeds, in order to arrange 2 stacks of 6 loaves each. Says the Gemara, immediately, how do we know that the Shulchan is supposed to have boards of gold plus reeds? Amar Rav Katina, Amar Kra. Rav Katina answered because of the pasuk. V'asisa ka'arosav. You're going to make its bowls, in other words, the molds to bake it in. V'kaposav, and its spoons. Uksosav. And Uksosav, and Menachiosav. So what are all these things? Karosav elu tfusim. The karosav is the molds, as we said, that there were 3 molds. You put the dough into a mold, and you put that dough that was in a mold into another mold that was in the oven, then when you take it out, you put the baked thing into another mold. Kaposav elu bazichin. Kaposav are the spoons that would hold the frankincense. Ksosav, what are ksosav elu snifin? These are the 2 boards of the 4 boards of gold. And Menachiosav is the kanim. Those are the reeds. Then the verse ends off with Asher Yusach Bahen. That's to say, Shem Mesachachin Bahen Esalechem. That's referring that's also referring to the reeds, because the reeds are a sukkah over each loaf of bread. You have these, how do they translate reeds? They have the pegs, the rods. Very good, the rods. So the rods are on top of each loaf. So the rods, because they're holding up the next loaf, the rods are like a sukkah over the loaves. Okay. So now the Gemara asks, 1 second. Mosiv Rava challenged this. We went in our Mishnah, Lo Sidur Kanim, putting the reeds there. When you putting the rods there, when you're putting the loaves there, nor the removing of the rods, that wouldn't be done on Shabbos. They would actually take the rods off on Friday, and the loaves would just be one on top of the other, and then on Shabbos they would replace the loaves, and then on Matzah Shabbos they would slip the rods in between. Now, if you're going to tell me that having rods is a biblical law, midoraisa, so then you should be doing it on Shabbos too. Why do we do it on Sunday? Why don't we do it on Shabbos? Then Rava said, you know what, it's not such a question. What I was saying is not such a question. Because even though it could be biblical, still you shouldn't do it on Shabbos at the time, because we learned also in that Mishnah. Rabbi Kiva said a rule. All those malachas that could be done before Shabbos, Shabbos. So you don't overrule Shabbos for it. So you could do it before Shabbos. If you don't need to do it on Shabbos, you don't do it on Shabbos. So here, you could do it not on Shabbos, and the breads are still going to be okay. So do it then.
Right, what's the issue with putting the rods on Shabbos anyway?
So the post can explain that, it's it could be muktzah, or it could be... That's a very good point. So Tosfos asks that question, right? It could be an issue of muktzah, it could be an issue that it looks like it looks like building. So look at the Tosfos, Lo Sidur Akanim, V'yafagav de'en shvus b'mikdash, even though there's normally no Isurim D'Rabbanan in the Beis HaMikdash, Hai tiltal, this carrying of the rods, lav mishum shvusu, it's not because it's a regular Isur D'Rabbanan, el mishum demevzi kiboni v'sosa. It looks like building and deconstructing, and so even though there are no Isurim D'Rabbanan, those are separate Isurim D'Rabbanan. But an Isur D'Rabbanan that's going to lead to an Isur D'Oraisa, people are going to think you can build that not.
The wrong message type of thing? That's
what it sounds like. Kach Pirish B'Kunshus, that's what Rashi says. Says Tosfos, that's Rashi. Below Mashma came Reish Kol HaKelim. I don't agree to that from the Gemara and Shabbos. Damar Kanim Kodim. Ataras Kelim Nishnu Mashma Deleka El Yisur Ba'alma. Ashkanami Shvus to Asur Mekdash Kagon Tzira Elyon Shema Yitzka V'Nagra Amunach Perek Basu De'ervin. So Tosfos doesn't tell us exactly the rule, but Tosfos says, it is an Isur D'Rabbanan, but sometimes there are Isurim D'Rabbanan in the Mikdash. Okay, so again, so the Gemara says, V'hani mili after lo dachi Shabbos alayu. Time amai deloli avshi lechem. So maybe these also, the reason why Hashem said to have rods is so that the bread not get ruined and not become moldy. And therefore, v'chiyai shira lo mi'avsha. When you take the rods out on Friday, and so the breads are just going to be on top of each other for a short amount of time from Friday to Shabbos, and then the new breads are going to be on top of each other on Shabbos until Matzah Shabbos, that's not enough time for them to get ruined. And therefore, that's why you're allowed to do it. Kidatanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Ketzad, how would they take off the rods? The Kohen would nichnas me'erev Shabbos. The Kohen would go in on Friday. The Shomtan, and we take the rods out from between the loaves. Umanichan, put them on the floor. La'arko shel shulchan, to the length of the shulchan. Uvamotzai Shabbos. Then on Matzah Shabbos, nichnas, he'd come back in. Magbia rosha shel challah. He would lift the head of one loaf. Umachnis kana tachteha, and slide the 3 rods underneath it. Then he'd lift the head of the 3rd loaf, and put the 3 rods underneath the 3rd loaf. And then, so in total of how many rods are you putting? Arba chalos, of the 6 loaves, the 4 middle ones, loaf 2, loaf 3, loaf 4, loaf 5. So those 4 loaves each get each get 3 rods, so that's a total of 12 rods. And El Yonah, on the top loaf, that only needs 2 rods, because it doesn't have any burden on top of it. It doesn't have so much weight. Vatachton, and the bottom loaf, ein atzricha kol ikar, doesn't need any rod at all. Because it's on the table itself. So, it's on a cold table, and the cold table is going to cool it. So what do you see bottom line? Is that the Rava had asked, it can't be biblical, because if it's biblical, why is it that we're not doing it on Shabbos? And Rava gave the answer. I'll tell you, even though it's biblical, still we're not going to do it on Shabbos, because we can get away with doing it on Friday, because the whole issue is in order to make sure that they don't rot, a little bit of them being one on top of the other without rot separating them, they still are not going to rot. Yeah, question, Baruch.
Why did I didn't get that? Why did the Kohen gets the rod out before Shabbat? Why?
So the Gemara the way the Rishonim explain is that there's an Isser D'Rabbanan of either it looks like construction, or maybe it's muktzah, it's moving muktzah things. It looks like bona, yeah. Mechzik bona.
Is that why they put them out for, makes the Shabbat,
Takes them out on Friday, and then on Shabbos he removes the loaves and puts other loaves in, and then Motzei Shabbos he puts the rods back in between the loaves. So now we're talking about the Amos in the Beis Hamikdash. Tanan we learned in a Mishnah in Meseches Kelim. Rabbi Meir says, "Kol Amos shehayu b'Mikdash." The various Amos in the Mikdash, Beinonios. They are the middle-sized Amma. In other words, each Amma had 6 tfachim. Chutz mimizbeach hazav, except for the golden altar, the Keren v'Asovi v'Yesod, and the corner and the sovev, the middle ledge in the middle of the mizbeach, and the yesod, the foundation ledge, that those all were of amos of 5 tfachim. Rabbi Yehuda says amas binyan, the amma of the building, was shisha tfachim, was a 6 tfachim big amma. Vishal kelim, but of all the utensils was chamesh, was of a 5 tfachim amma. Yeah, depending on what it was. That's right. A little confusing. You see the same term, amma, which is a measure, means different things in different places. So now the sources for this. Rabbi Yochanan explained, and both Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, Mikra Chadarsha, they're both interpreting the same pasuk. And that is a pasuk in Yecheskel about the Mizbeach. The pasuk says, Ve'ela milos ha-Mizbeach, Bo'amos, Ama vatofach. So it says that when you're going to measure the Mizbeach, you're going to find that what you have is each Ama is what elsewhere would be an Ama and a Tefach. V'cheik ha'ama, and the
This is the machlochet, that is whether it's 5 or 6.
That's
Or
right.
in the vessels. In the vessels, it's a machlokas, exactly.
But it's really not 2 measurements. We just don't know which one it is.
Why? There are 2 measurements. There's what's amma beinanis, the typical amma of 6 tvachim.
Sometimes it's 5
And then the question is, what about these utensils? Maybe they were made out of an amma of 5 tvachim.
So Hashem made it like that.
Yeah, different sizes. So what parts of the Mizbeach are being measured with this smaller amma? The Chek amma, the amma of the Chek. How do they translate the Chek? The base, okay. The amma v'rochav, the amma of the width. Ugvul el sfasa saviv zeres echad. And the measurement of its rim is half an amma. V'zeh gava mizbeach. And these amos are what's used to measure the back of the mizbeach. So now what's going on here? Chei ka'ama. What's chei ka'ama? Zeh yesod. That's a reference to the foundation, to the very bottom of the mizbeach. Ama rochav ze sovev. The ama of the width is the ama in the middle of the mizbeach, the sovev. Ugvul el svasa saviv zeres echad elu kranos. That's a reference to the corners, that when you measure from the middle of the corner to the side, you have half an amma, you have a zeres, because each corner is an amma. Zegava mizbeach, ze mizbeach hazav. That refers to the golden altar. So that's basically saying what's going on here. Rabbi Meir holds zeu b'ama bas chamisha. The golden altar is the amma of 5 tvachim. Kol amos hakelim, but all the other vessels were ba'ama bas sheish, were with an amma of 6 tvachim.
What's the golden altar?
The golden altar is the altar in the heichal for the ketores.
Oh, it's nothing to do with the table.
No, we're past the table now. We're talking about the size of the amos. So Rabbi Meir holds zeu ba'ama bas chamisha. This one, the golden altar, is with an amma of 5 tvachim. Kol amos, all other amos of kalim was an amma bas shisha. And Rabbi Yehuda holds kazeh you kol amos kalim. Like this, all the amos will be. All of them are out of amos of 5 tvachim.
Rabbi, did they run out of names for measurements? That's why they call everything amos, mamos, the whole thing, what's going on?
Interesting question. I don't know. Why wasn't there another name for the different sizes?
Exactly right.
Scoop.
All right. Kasal Gadaitach, what we were thinking to say is Miyasod V'ad Sovev. The pasuk is telling us from the foundation until the Sovev, till the walkway in the middle. Ba'ama Bas Chamisha. Begova. When measuring the height, that was with an amma of 5 tvachim. Umay cheka amma v'amma rochav. What is it referring to when it talks about the yesod and the sovev? It's saying mi cheka amma, from the beginning of the yesod v'ad rochav, until you get to this walkway in the middle of the mizbeach. V'amma bas chamisha. All of those amos were amos of 5 tvachim. So 1 second. Gova mizbeach. Let's say the whole height of the mizbeach in the Mishkan. Kama havi. How much was it from the floor until the corners? Eser amos. It's a total of 10 amos. The yesod is 1 amma. From the yesod up to the sovev was another 5 amos. We're up to 6 amos. From the sovev until the roof is 3 amos. That's 9 amos. And the corner itself is another amos. So that's a total of 10 amos. Now, if we're measuring everything with an amma 5 tvachim, so 1 second. Shis b'nei chamisha chamisha. So the first 6 amos, namely the 1 amma of yesod and the 5 amos till you get to the sovev, that's a 5 tvachim amos. But then the last 4 amos from the sovev up till the keren, till the corner, that's 4 amos of b'nei shita, each of 6 tvachim. If so, mizbeach kamahavi. How many tvachim is the mizbeach in total? So you have 6 times 4 is 24. Then you have 6 times 5, right? 6 tvachim times 4 amos is 24 tvachim. Then you have 6 amos times 5 tvachim, that's another 30 tvachim. So 30 tvachim plus 24 tvachim, Mizbeach is 54. So 1 second. So Mizbeach Kamahavi, according to this, the Mizbeach is how much? Chamishin v'arba, 54 tvachim. So Palged the Mizbeach Kamahavi. So now what would be the midway point of 54 tvachim? 27 tvachim, Esem v'shiva. So the middle point, Palged the Mizbeach Kamahavi, would be Esem v'shiva, would be 27 tvachim. So mikranos v'atzovev kamahavi. But how far is the distance from the corners until the walkway? We just said it was 24 tvachim. It's esem v'arba. So kama batzi lepalga the mizbeach. So how many tvachim are we missing till we get to the middle of the mizbeach? Thlasa. Another 3 tvachim. Which time we went to the Mishnah. Chut shel sikra chogro be'emtza. There was a band of red wrapping around the Mizbeach in the middle. called the chut hasikra. And second, Kedei lahavdil bein damim ha'elyonim, and that was there to distinguish between the blood that's supposed to be above the chut hasikra, l'damim ha'tachtonim, to blood that's supposed to be beneath the chut hasikra. So now we have a question. Elahadetanya, this we learned in a brayso, gabi ola sa'ov, in regards to the ola sa'ov, hayola bakevesh, she would climb up the ramp, ufanala soviv, and then walk off to the walkway. And you would go to that first corner, the southeastern corner, umolek es roshamimul arpa, and he would cut into the neck with his fingernail opposite its throat, and he would be mavdil. He would separate the two pipes, and then umotzes dama, he would squeeze it and squeeze out the blood al kira mizbeach, on the wall of the mizbeach. V'im asa lemata miraglav, and if he does it underneath his feet, afilu ama achas ksheran, even still within an amma would be kosher. It's still considered the top half of the mizbeach. But 1 second, hakayav elyon lemata mishnei tfachim. He's putting blood that should go above 2 tfachim below where it should go. So therefore, you can't say chek ha'ama is a reference. So therefore, we have a problem. So the Gemara says, okay, we have to measure the mizbeach differently. Ela chek ha'ama knisa. The chek ha'ama is a reference. When we say that the yesod was of the small amos, the chek ha'ama was of small amos, that's not saying that the height from the yesod to the sovev was of the small amos. The part that goes in, the horizontal part of the yesod, that going in, okay, very good, the step of the yesod, the going in this way, that was of a 5 tfachim amma. Knisa. And amma rochav, when we talk about the walkway of the sovev, that was also knisa, the going in, the step going in. However, the wall of the mizbeach, going from the yesod till the sovev, or from the sovev on above, that was normal amos of 6 tfachim. Kvula el sfasa saviv, and when we talk about the very top till the corners, it's also the knisa. That's 5 tfachim. So therefore, if that's in fact the case, now it'll all work out. Because now mizbeach kama havale, how much is the mizbeach shitin? The mizbeach is now a total of 60 tfachim, because 10 amos, each amma of 6 tfachim, 10 times 6 is 60 tfachim. So pag the mizbeach kama havi, what's the middle point of the mizbeach if it's 60 tfachim? Plus, it's the 30 tefach place. Now, mikarnas ad soviv kama havi, from the corners until the soviv, how much is it? SMV arba. That's going to be 24 tfachim, right? Because 6 times 4. 4 amos times 6 tfachim each. So kama butz b'pag mizbeach. How much more do you need to get to the halfway point of the mizbeach? Shisha, another 6 to get to 30. It's not in there if we have in the brayso. Imasal amatmiraglav. If he's standing on the sovev and he squeezes it underneath his feet, even 1 amma, it's still kshera. It's still kosher because it's still going to be on the top half of the mizbeach. It'll be over the midway point of the mizbeach. Okay, so we'll stop here. Be'ezus Hashem. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Yomer Ratzak Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Sakos Yisrael Lefi Chachim L'Torah.